Hey everybody! So today I'm going to be talking about Xerjoff Ivory Root. I had this decant for a little while. It was bought from one of the fragrance groups, and when I first smelt it, because it was actually recommended to me, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Jim R. I think you might have recommended I try Ivory Root back on one of my older videos. And anyway, so I got hold of a decant. I also got More Than Words. And when I first smelt it months ago now, I just didn't quite get it. I sprayed it and I thought it was a bit harsh. And I kind of forgot about it. I didn't really give it any chance or any time. Anyway, something inspired me yesterday to give it a sniff. So I got it out and I sprayed it on my arm before I went to bed. So I often do that, I'm sure most of us do. We spray a little bit here and there before we go to bed. So last night I had Ivory Root on my arm. I had 4160 Tuesdays vanilla crumble all around me like this because it's a gorgeous, comforting vanilla fragrance. And I think I had something on my other arm, but I can't remember what it was now. Anyway, when I sprayed Ivory Root on my arm, I was instantly kind of excited. It made me think in a way of Portrait of a Lady. Not that it smells the same, but that it's got a lot of different layers to it. And I felt like I could smell rose, and I also felt like I could smell incense. And also when you very first spray it, so I just refreshed here, I've been wearing it all day, I've just refreshed here. When you first spray it, there's kind of like a minty eucalyptus feel. So that's not the main part of the fragrance, and it does disappear quite quickly. But there is a kind of woody menthol smell, a bit like if you go to a sauna and they put eucalyptus or mint oil on the hot bits. It kind of got a feel like that. But that's not what this fragrance is all about. It's just what I noticed in the beginning. Oh, hang on, the cat needs to be let out. Right, where were we? So yes, you get this kind of menthol and a very moist kind of woody feel. But then after sort of 10-15 minutes, the fragrance does get smoother. So as I said, when I first sprayed it, I found it a bit rough. It felt a bit rugged. If I was to compare it to anything off the top of my head, I would say, think of, if you know Imaginary Author's Memoirs of a Trespasser, it bears some similarities to that, which is a vanilla-y, spicy fragrance. Also the Architects Club from Arquiste, if anyone's familiar with that, another spicy, woodsy vanilla fragrance. That one's very smooth though, whereas I find Memoirs of a Trespasser a bit rugged as well, like I find the opening of this. But it does get smoother quite quickly, and that eucalyptus-y kind of menthol thing fades quite quickly. And then what you're left with is this sweet woodsy vanilla with some gorgeous spices. It kind of smells like cake mix. You know, if you're making cakes or biscuits, I think in the States you call them cookies. I know that really. It always sounds like a strange, like for me, the word cookie would only refer to those big biscuits that you get, not Oreos. They're not really cookies, they're biscuits, by the way, just letting you know. So it smells like you're making biscuits or cakes, and you've got that lovely cake mix. You've got the sweet, buttery mixture, and you've put in all your lovely sweet spices, you know. All those beautiful spices like nutmeg and cinnamon and dried ginger, and it's just a really sweet, spicy, vanillic, creamy fragrance. It doesn't really develop much, so once you get past that first 20 minutes where it starts off quite rugged, you've got a little bit of menthol woodsiness, then it just slowly smooths down into this creamy, buttery, spicy, sweet, woodsy, vanillic fragrance, and there it stays really for the whole journey. It lasts really well on the skin. I wouldn't say it's a beast mode fragrance. I've been wearing it today. I've been getting wafts of it around me. Obviously I only had this decant. The sprayers broke, so I ended up having to undo it and then pour it, but I accidentally, because normally if I'm going to do that, I like put it on my skin and then do that. But I caught the necklace, so I actually poured about 2 mils just down my top. Well, you know, down inside my top. And yeah, I've certainly been getting good wafts of it all day long. Very comforting, very suitable for this cooler weather. I think I got it in the summer, which might explain why I wasn't loving it straight away. It really does feel like a cold weather fragrance, you know, cozy up by the fireplace, nice cozy meet up with your friends down the pub, that kind of feel, very relaxed, very appealing, perfect for a date night. If you want someone to get a little bit closer just to be able to smell you, then this is going to do the trick. I really like it. Will I buy a bottle? I'm not quite sure yet. I've got a lot of vanilla fragrances. I've got a lot of sweet fragrances. Some of them I prefer over others. This is way up there with some of my favourites. So it could potentially be a full bottle purchase. But I'm definitely going to use that up first and then make an informed decision once I've worn that. If I don't get through that, then obviously I don't need a bottle. I've got to be sensible. There are other things that require money, you know. Vet bills, mortgages, MOTs. I had my car MOT today and it passed, no problems. There was a windscreen wiper, but that's fixed now and that was not expensive. Yay! We've all got our responsibilities and I have to prioritise. So no, I won't just go out and buy a bottle of this, but I definitely think it is in the full bottle worthy bracket. Just needs some more testing. And that's it, I think. Oh, I'm going to tell you the note. I don't think the notes are officially out there. I think they're kind of, Xerjoff keep it to themselves a little bit. It's cinnamon, pepper, and spices. Those sticks, the sandalwood. Yeah, sandalwood. Then you've got allspice, spicy notes, basil, and patchouli. In my mind, I think what's giving it that eucalyptus feel might be the basil. I certainly don't get any obvious basil and I don't get an obvious patchouli note, but when patchouli is used in small quantities, it can give a chocolatey, vanillic feel, and I think that's what it does to this fragrance. I just watched another reviewer today and she called it a chocolatey fragrance. So to her nose it was chocolatey. And I can really see that a spicy chocolate would kind of also be a good way to describe the fragrance. What annoys me about Xerjoff though, and what I don't like, is they're not very transparent. I don't think they tell us too much about how they make their perfumes, who the perfumer is behind the fragrance, and it makes me feel a bit suspicious, kind of like Menthol and Mancera as well. There's just this air of smoke and mirrors. And I think some of their fragrances are so expensive. I would like to know who the perfumer is. I would like to know a little bit more because if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money, I want to know a little bit more. And the thing with Xerjoff as well that I don't get is there's no kind of correlation between the different fragrances. So a lot of houses will have some things in common. You'll recognise a bass note or, an accord or something that kind of gels them all together. So if I think about 4160 Tuesdays or Guerlain, there is often a common denominator, so I can kind of tell, not necessarily straight off, but you can smell something and think it smells a bit like a Guerlain, or it smells a bit like one of 4160 Tuesdays fragrances. With Xerjoff, I got a dry throat. With Xerjoff, I can't see any correlation between, my favourites are Naxos 1861 and now this one, but I can't find a common factor. They could all be from completely different houses, and I'm not sure I really like that. Maybe that's just me, maybe, I'm just being funny, but I just find there's something a little bit iffy about Xerjoff. Maybe that's a controversial thing to say, but yeah, not trying to be negative, and they definitely put out some really nice fragrances. Anyway, Ivory Root, I really like it. I suggest you try it if you like cozy and comforting and vanillic fragrances. It's well worth giving it a sniff, but it is quite pricey, so bear that in mind. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in a bit.